Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is MS Collections. Thank you big time for stopping by. In today's video I'll be showing us how to draft a 6-piece skirt, okay? And the good thing about this tutorial is I'll be showing us a very simple method. It is beginner friendly and it is straightforward. So first off, I have my fabric on the table and I have it folded into two. Okay, I'll be using 3 yards for this skirt. So when you multiply 36 by 3, you have 108 inches. So having folded it into two, I have 54 inches. Okay, so that is what I've folded, and I've gone ahead to fold it again into 4, as you can see me do, but this time I left 7 inches. Okay, now that 7 inches I left is what I'll be using for the back center piece that carries the zipper allowance. Okay, so all you have to do is to fold your 3 yards of fabric into 2, which is 54 inches, and then go ahead and fold it again into 4, leaving 7 inches, as you can see me do in the tutorial. Like I said, this is a very simple method, is beginner friendly, and it gives you a very good result. If you are yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please do well to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to be doing is to mark my knee length. Okay, so if it's a skirt, just measure from your skirt to the top of your knee and subtract 3 or 4 inches or even 5 inches, depending on where you want your knee fitting to start from. So for my client here, I have about 17 inches, and that is what I marked vertically. So I marked that point. So I have my waistline, which is the top of the fabric. I've gone ahead to mark 4 inches. Okay, so I'll be using that 4 inches I marked is like my dart wideness. Okay, so it's the same thing for the skirt. So I marked 4 inches at the top of the wrapper. Then on the knee length I subtracted ½ inch and I marked 3.5 inches. Okay, if you want more fitting at the knee, you can subtract 1 inch, but trust me, it's going to be very fitted. Subtracting ½ inch makes it more comfortable to walk. If you subtract 1 inch, you can still walk, but it's going to be more fitted. Okay, now at the base of the skirt, which is the skirt length, I went ahead to mark 10 inches. Okay, yes, so I've marked 4 inches width at the waistline of the skirt, subtracted ½ inch and used 3.5 at the knee length, and then for the length of the skirt I marked 10 inches and I went ahead to connect with my ruler, and that will form my center piece. Okay, please also take note of the position where I am doing this marking. It's at the edge of the wrapper, so that I can mark my front center piece and my back center piece together. Like I said, this is a very simple method. Just follow me closely and then you will understand. Okay, another thing I need to note is if you're on a smaller side, let's say you have hips below 40 or hips below, let's say 38, you can decide to mark 11 inches at the base of the skirt. So that's if you want your skirt to be fuller, but 10 inches will do just well for any average size. Okay, so now over to the back piece of the skirt. At this back piece, what I've marked, aside from my waist length, I took my hip length, which is 8 inches, and then I'll also take my knee length. I will extend my knee length to the 7 inches part of the wrapper, and then I'll be connecting. Now, why am I imputing my hip length at this point? Is because I would add allowance for the butt allowance, okay, which is just ½ inch. So what I'm going to do is my zip allowance, I'll be using 1.5 inch. Okay, 1.5 inch for my zip allowance, but on that hip length I'll add extra ½ inch for butt allowance, which is 2, which will make it 2 inches, and then on the knee length I'll use 1 inch for my knee fitting at the back. So it's very simple, guys. Whatever your zip length is, add ½ inch for the hip, for the butt allowance, and subtract another ½ inch for the knee length. So since I have 1.5 inch as my zipper allowance, I added ½ inch, making it 2 for the hip side, and then subtracted ½ inch, making it 1 inch for the knee side. So do you get it, guys? It's very simple. and then go ahead from that point, use your long ruler to connect to the edge of the wrapper. Can you see this? Now by doing this, we have successfully drafted our front center piece and our back center piece together. So watch closely on how I'll be cutting the wrapper. And guys, if you have come this far, please do also give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, and most importantly, turn on your notification bell so you get notified when I drop new videos, because I always drop amazing content. Now can you see this, guys? The next thing is I'll be cutting it off. Another thing I must let us know, guys, is when you're done cutting, you have to notch your wrapper. Now this is very important when you're making a 6-piece skirt, because of course all the sides are flared. Like when you look at the side, every side of the 6-piece skirt is flared. So if you do not notch the points in the wrapper, you are most likely going to get confused. Okay, so that is what I'm doing. Now the first place I notch is the side, the point at the back piece skirt that will help me indicate the zipper allowance. So when I see that notch at the back piece, I know that, oh, that's the point that will be taking the zipper. Okay, now the next thing I notch is the back knee length. Okay, so that when I'm stitching, all those points will meet together. Trust me, guys, this is very important, because there are some cases I also notch the knee length for the front. Okay, there are some times when you're sewing and then the sides are not meeting. If you are not careful, going to be having your knee joinings at different points, and of course this is due to machine friction. So you have to notch the knee points so that you're able to control the wrapper to have them meet at the points they are supposed to meet. Another way you can achieve this is to carefully pin your fabrics together before sewing. Okay, so I'm done with the front and back center pieces, and this is the remaining part of the wrapper. Okay, remember I folded into 4. Now folding it into 4, another thing it does, it helps me to cut all my pieces at once. I do not have to cut multiple pieces multiple times. Okay, so I just have to cut. Now the next thing I'm going ahead to do for this remaining part of the wrapper is to cut the 4 side pieces together. Okay, so remember, guys, when I was drafting the front part, I used 4 inches at the waistline, which I explained is usually my dart allowance. What does that mean? If you're a smaller person and your dart allowance is smaller than 8 inches, you can use 3.5. Okay, so then the technique is the same. And please take note of the way I placed my wrapper. The flare side is going to this other side of the wrapper that has been cut. So what I'm going ahead to do is to mark my hip and my knee length measurements vertically, and then, like I said, because I used 4 inches for the center piece, I'm going to be placing my tape from 4 inches. Can you see the way I've placed it in the video? So just look at it closely. Now my tape is placed from 4 inches, and the 4 inches is at the beginning of the center piece I placed. Okay, so from that 4 inches I'll mark the remaining part of my measurement. Now my client's waist is 36 inches, so I placed my tape from 4 inches. Remember, 36 divided by 4 is 9 inches. So I placed my tape from 4 inches, and then I marked the remaining 9 inches, and I used 2.5 inch allowance. The 2.5 inch allowance will cover for all my joinings. My client's hip is 42 inches. I placed my tape from 4 inches and I marked 10.5 inches plus 2.5 inch allowance. Now for the knee length, I placed my tape from 4 inches and I subtracted 1 inch from my hip measurement, which will make it 9.5 inches plus my 2.5 inch allowance. Now the 2.5 inch allowance is going to cover for all your joinings at the center and will still leave you with sufficient allowance when you are done making your skirt. Okay, so go ahead and use your curve ruler and join, and then use your long rule to extend your flare and guys, we are good to go. Can you see our side pieces marked? So the next thing you're going to be doing will be to cut out the shape of the other side of your center piece, of course, because that's the side that will be meeting the center pieces when you're joining. So you cut out the shape on the other side and cut out the shape of your side pieces. Okay, this is very simple, guys. Can you see? I mean, we did this in about 10 minutes. It's so simple, guys. And please let me know if this video was helpful. Let me know in the comment section what you think. If you have any questions or requests, let me know in the comment section. I'll gladly attend to them. And if you haven't subscribed, please, this is me reminding you to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Share the video with as many that you know will need this video, and of course do not forget to turn on your notification bell. Okay, another thing you must note is when making your 6 pieces skirt, you have to add to your length, okay, say 2 to 3 inches. You do not just take your exact length, because it's usually not nice if your skirt is hanging. Okay, so my client's skirt length is about 40 inches, so I added about 3 inches to that to make her skirt length 43 inches, and then 2 inches for allowance. So can you see that? That's why I use the full length of the Ankara fabric. So like I said, make your skirt longer so that it flows on the ground just a little bit and it doesn't hang. Okay, so with this, guys, we are done with our skirt. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you really learned a lot. I will see you in my next tutorial. Make sure to stay tuned and do not forget to mark the bad sides of your fabric so you do not make mistakes. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.